Okay, it is 7 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and call the meeting of the July 28th St. Charles County Council meeting to order. If everyone will please rise and join me in a moment of silence, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mike Elam. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll have the roll call, please.
Councilmember Joe Cronin.
Here.
Councilmember Joe Brazel.
Here.
Councilmember Mike Elam.
Here.
Councilmember Mike Klinghammer.
Here.
Councilmember Dave Hammond.
Here.
Councilmember Terry Hollander. Here. Councilmember John White.
Good. Next, we have the public comment portion of the meeting. At this time, members of the audience are welcome to come to the podium and address items of county-wide concern. Each individual will be given 3 minutes to speak. Once a subject has been started, we'll alternate going back and forth, pros and cons, until we've had 6 speakers on that particular subject. Is there anybody that would like to address the council at this time? Yes, sir. And there are speaker cards over here at the clerk's table. If you would fill one out when you're done, that would be great.
Sorry. My name is Nicholas Hussey, and a year ago my door was kicked in for selling marijuana, allegedly. Thank you all for being here and listening to my story. I'd like to join you in speaking out against unnecessary use of force for nonviolent crimes. This needs to stop. Law enforcement should not be allowed to get away with property damage, terrorizing my family, and on a basis of feeble evidence. They tore our beautiful home apart we just bought, holes in the wall, and tearing down our door with no knock. Pouring 2 full sodas that were next to our bed all over our bed, tore down every picture we had on our wall and on the shelf. Looked like a tornado hit. Night before, our son asked to camp in the living room. So after a book and our prayers, we laid him down to sleep about 10 feet away from the door so we can watch TV. They were just a few feet from beating my son's head open with the door. All they had to do was knock, and I'd let them in and search with a warrant with no problem. But they wanted to try out their shiny new toys. Thinking this is okay makes me sick to my stomach. All this for marijuana, ruining a home we're buying, disrespecting my father, who was living in the basement at the time, who knew nothing, pointing AR-15s at my whole family, including my son and wife. I own my own business. I have an LLC, and for my business, I proudly framed it and hung it. An officer saw it, threw it down to the ground, then stomped on it in front of me. Then as they walked past, every officer kept stepping on it. My family and I are not criminals. Each of our neighbors love us and would do anything for us, as we would for them. I truly believe it takes a village to raise a child, which is why our family strives to take part in our community. It is important for us to know our neighbors. We come together often to barbecue and have our children play together. We also have 2 officers that live next door who come to these barbecues and have a great time with us. When hardship strikes, like the recent storm damage many homes in our community, we band together to help each other. We've built fences together, put on roofs that blew off in the storm, and help each other with other household repairs and improvements. When a local woman battling cancer struggled to pay for treatment, our family donated thousands. This is one of many donations my family has made, to never once asking a dime back. And no, they did not deal. I put a down payment on a close friend's home because I found out they were pregnant. Again, no money back. The point is, my family and I are not degenerates who devalue our community.
Mr.
But-
Hussey,
Yes.
I appreciate your comments. The time has elapsed, though. And
Okay.
we give each person 3 minutes. I certainly appreciate what you've said, and it's something that I will personally ask more questions about.
Yeah. Can I say one thing about how this affected my son?
If you would make it very quick.
All right. After this happened, for a month straight, my son in the middle of the night cried every night. We would go there, lay next to him, and try to wake him up, but he would not wake up. And he would be screaming, "Please don't hurt my mommy. Please don't hurt my daddy." So all we could do was lay next to him and rub his back and say, "It's going to be okay, bud. It's going to be okay. You're all right." And it was just sad. And he was fully potty trained. He was 4 years old. And after that, now here and there, he keeps peeing the bed. And every time he sees an officer, he hides behind mommy and daddy. And
Okay.
it's just sad what they did to a house that nobody ever shows up to this house. And it's a beautiful home in Jungerman, Tanglewood subdivision. It's
Okay.
just sad what happened.
Thank you very much. We certainly appreciate you coming forward and letting us know that happened.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to speak on this particular item? Is there anybody who wants to speak about a separate item? Mr. Dinoff?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the County Council.
Mr. Dinoff, in the future, we don't allow political signs in the council chambers, so in the future, don't wear that hat, okay? Thank you very much.
Okay. Good evening, members of the council. Arnie Dinoff, County Public Advocate. Today, the Election Authority, in its wisdom, held a voting machine accuracy and logic test. They did not comply with Chapter 115. The notifications could not be opened in a 20-year-old program called Windmail. The party chairman of the Republican Party could not open it. Other members that it was sent to could not open it. So therefore, nobody could participate in the fair, accurate test of our voting machines. That's a direct violation of Chapter 115. And there was no proper notification to the political parties of our county. On your agenda tonight is bid number SB 14/144, proposed purchase of 130 voting booths. The county's checks and balances of government is being ignored and severely violated by the County Election Authority Director, Mr. Krismer, in direct violation of the county's sacred county home rule charter and the county ordinances that all elected officials must adhere to and follow. This is in reference to the purchasing policy. This is a direct slap in the face to each and every member of this county council. This is a political contract and was not the lowest bidder. There were two other lower bidders in this contract, Henry Atkins and Sons. Election Works was $7,000 less and Election Sources $4,000 less. The units have been ordered by Mr. Krismer, are in shipment, and to be delivered to the Election Authority on Thursday. That's a direct violation of the county's purchasing policy and not getting authority and approval by this county council. This is a PR stunt before the election between Mr. Krismer and myself for the elected post of Election Authority Director. 1 year ago, Bill Vandenberg of Atkins and Sons told the Elections Authority to buy these ADA voting booths as a package to get a bulk discount. Now they're costing taxpayers about 25% more. Where's the common sense? Where are taxpayers being protected? This is poor management and poor oversight of the finance director and the purchasing policy. When is the $881,000 that Mr. Schnarr and Brent Statler, our county auditor, is going to be returned to all the governments across St. Charles County? You had a closed session with Brent Statler and closed session behind this room, and I think you need to propose or to report to the public of how you're going to pay back the money. It is highly sickening, degrading, despicable, and truly inhumane what Rich Krismer admitted and disclosed in a $300,000 settlement with Marge Muffler, the former Election Authority finance manager. The fired 64-year-old outstanding public servant with high credentials and an impeccable work ethic and employee file, she was fired for no reason. There were sunshine and public requests made, and those have not been adhered to.
Okay.
The public, I'll just sum it up. The public has a full right of disclosure and the right to know. Even Mr. Krismer.
Thank you, Mr. Dinoff. Appreciate
you.
it. Okay, the subject matter of the bill to buy the voting booths has been opened. Does anybody else want to discuss that particular item? Any other items that someone would like to discuss tonight? Yes.
Council Chairman, council members, Mr. Ellman, and the administration. My name is Charlene Lohman. I was employed with the Election Authority's office for almost 37 years, serving the last 27 years as the Assistant Director of Elections. I left the county 3.5 years ago out of fear that I would be blamed for what I believe to be illegal activities. I would like to commend Mr. Brent Statler and the county auditor and Mr. Bob Schnarr, the finance director, on the audit performed in the Election Authority's office. I think they did an outstanding job finding the mismanagement of grant funds that were given to the Election Authority's office by the federal and state government, and finding the excessive fees amounts being charged to political subdivisions by the Election Authority's office. I think the political subdivisions should be paid back what is rightfully theirs. However, I also feel the Director of Elections should take responsibility and pay back the political subdivisions, since he is the one that overcharged them. The money should be taken out of the Election Authority's own fund that he alone controls, which is called the 233 Fund. As for the statement being made from the Director of Elections stating why there is such a difference in the amount that is owed back to the political subdivisions, there is a reason for this difference. The $200,000 overage charge amount owed back to the political subdivisions was a result of auditing for 2 years, whereas the $800,000 overage charge amount owed back was the result of auditing for 5 years. There is the answer to the difference. Another point, the Director of Elections wants to call in an outside audit. The outside audit will only substantiate what both the state of Missouri's audit and the county's audit proved, which is the political subdivisions were overcharged by over $800,000 for the years 2008 till 2012. Why use taxpayers' money to perform another audit when the state and the county are in agreement that the Election Authority overcharged the political subdivisions by over $800,000? I strongly feel if there are any additional audits to be done, the audit should be performed on the Election Authority's office itself by looking into the gross mismanagement being done by the leadership team in that office. After working for the Election Authority's office for over 36 years, I care about how St. Charles County taxpayers' money is being spent, and I care that the Election Authority's office is represented in a fair, legal, and professional manner. In closing, I want to thank the council and the administration for listening and taking into consideration the comments and facts I have presented. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else want to speak on this particular subject? Yes,
Mine is slightly related to that.
you're welcome to come forward.
My name is Jerry Zaire. I'm a resident of unincorporated St. Charles County, Missouri. I represent the St. Charles County Sheriff Preservation Initiative, which is seeking a charter amendment to repeal the 2012 Law Enforcement Charter Amendment. We have been striving to get accurate and timely information out of Mr. Krismer, the Director of Election Authority's office. We have been able to, we've been unable to do so. I personally visited Mr. Krismer's office on Friday, May 30th this year. I left a message. He was unavailable. They said he'd call me on Monday afternoon. Monday afternoon, I was being very patient. I waited. I received a phone call from one of our volunteers. He was told by another volunteer that unbeknownst that we had gone to the office on Friday, they had called Krismer to get other information And we were told that don't worry about that petition initiative. It is too late to turn them in, that they were due May 4th. In addition, he told them, don't worry about that petition initiative. They've got less than 1,000 signatures. Obviously, we have well more than 1,000 signatures. I called Mr. Krismer's office. I spoke to Mr. Krismer. He told, as soon as I introduced myself, said I was calling about the St. Charles County Sheriff Preservation Initiative. He informed me, don't worry about that preservation initiative. It is too late. They were due on May 4th. Now, this was on Monday, June 2nd. He told me not to worry about it. They had less than 1,000 signatures. I informed him, that's funny. I'm the volunteer coordinator. We have one volunteer alone that at that point in time had more than 2,400 signatures. He didn't have a response to that. We had further discussion. He's like, when I asked him what the ordinance was so I could look it up in the county ordinance book, he explained to me that it was a petition initiative. When I reminded him it was a charter amendment, he says, email it to me. I will look it up and I will call you back. I emailed it to him. He responded to my email, so I know that he received it. He said, thanks. That was, again, on Monday, June 2nd. He said he'd call me back the next day after he had a chance to look into it. That would be Tuesday, June 3rd. Obviously, our volunteers were very upset over this. Tuesday afternoon, we did not receive that phone call back. I know he got my email because he responded to it. Tuesday evening, June 3rd, one of our volunteer coordinators committed suicide. He is now deceased. We still do not have our answers. We have not received timely information, and we need that information so that we can turn these in accurately. So we would like to know how to find out where to get the accurate information for our preservation initiative. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to talk about the ballot initiative process that's ongoing? Is there anybody that'd like to talk about any other subjects? Yes.
My name is Linda Merkel. I am with Black and Beach. We represent AT&T, and I'm talking about the Bill 4111, the telecommunications tower. It is currently proposed to be a 190-foot tower at 1834 Pennyroyal Lane. The owners are David and Mary Klee. It is zoned agricultural. Currently, the parcel is 13.2 acres. They have it divided into 4 tracts. The proposal is to have 2 of the tracts combined together so we would meet the setback requirements for the ordinance. I know there has been some concern from neighbors, and I have provided some information in some packets for you tonight that have information from the American Cancer Society. Talks about radio frequency radiation, talks about cell phone towers, and then also cell phones themselves. And basically that there is no concern for healthy reasons for that. I've also provided some information from Lane Appraisals, and that is a summary of 8 studies that have been done over the course of time that shows that there is not decreased property values for the areas that they have looked into. So basically, we request respectfully that the council moves forward with this conditionally upon the Klees putting their 2 pieces of property back together into 1 parcel.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address? Yes.
Hi, my name is Susan Russell. I and my husband own the property next to where the tower is going to be built. Our property is currently for sale. We have been told by our realtor that it will devalue the property, which is logical because someone wants to be in a rural setting. They don't want a 190-foot tower right next to them. So we are concerned, since our property is up for sale, that the construction will be a deterrent. Also that, lost my train of thought. Well, anyway, again, we are against it. for obvious reasons, because who wants a 190-foot tower in their yard? Our property is right next to where the tower will be built, right next to it, so. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Appreciate the comments. Anybody else that would like to address the council? Yes, sir.
I'm for. My name is David Klee. Thank you for listening. Last time I gave you some information, but I didn't know when to stand up, so I didn't, excuse me. But I gave you the information from the American Cancer Society that there is no concern with radiation. In fact, the radiation from a cell tower is 1/100th of what someone gets from a cell phone. My neighbor who is concerned about that should be more concerned about the lead sleds he works on than he should the cell tower. Secondly, you've already been told and you've been given one piece of information, research from a very fine organization last time I was here. And again, this time, we gave you all another piece of information showing that property values don't go down from having cell towers. I also gave you some pictures. You saw a picture of Pennyroyal Lane, and the whole area is very wooded. It's beautiful, but there's just as much damage from, if you will, electric poles as there would be from a cell tower. And they're connected, and they're right on the road. I also gave you a picture of two cell towers, one from a half mile away and one from just 2/10 of a mile away. They're really not that obtrusive. We would respectfully request that the misinformation given to and the mob action done on the part to the Planning and Zoning Committee might be refuted. One, that radiation's a problem. I've talked about that. Two, the gentleman next door said in the Planning and Zoning Committee that he was told that he could kiss his cell goodbye if there was a cell tower there. I called the realtor personally and said, "Did you say that?" He said, "No, I didn't say that at all." So it's a gross misrepresentation of what the cell man said. And finally, if you will, as property values have been shown not to go down, we ask that you might let us have this cell tower on our property so that my children and my neighbor's children too don't have to say, "Can you hear me now?" Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to talk about the cell towers? Yes, sir.
Oh, here we go. My name's Kirk Russell. I obviously own the adjoining property. And I don't know where they got their information from, but anybody with any common sense knows that this does devalue property. My realtor did tell me that it will decrease our property values. Mr. Klee was kind enough to call him up and cuss him out to the point where my realtor had to hang up on him. And we're having a hard time selling this property for another reason is our for sale signs keep coming up missing now that all this has happened. Don't know what's happened to those. But I don't see how anybody can approve this. It's a residential area. There's plenty of other places around close by that could be out in the middle of nowhere to put a tower.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there anybody to speak in favor of the cell tower? We did go back and forth. Anybody else to speak in opposition to the cell tower? Is there anybody that would like to talk about any other subjects? Okay. With that, then, I will close the public comment portion of the meeting, and we will move forward to, the report of the, oral report of the county executive. Mr. Ellman?
Mr. Chairman, I have no report, but I would ask you to please be kindly to Joanne when she comes up for renomination here for the library board. She's done a good job.
We're going to have a proper vetting process on that particular appointment. Thank you, Mr. Ellman, appreciate that. Next, we have the consent agenda. Is there any items that someone would like to pull from the consent agenda?
Mr. Chair, I would like to pull the election authority bid from the consent agenda.
Okay,
Second.
that item has been, is all in favor of pulling the election authority from the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any other items on the consent agenda? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the remaining portion of the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Okay. Mr. Cronin?
Yeah, I have several issues with this bid. And first of all, it's obvious that we need to meet ADA requirements at the county level. But this could have been done a long time ago, instead of doing it in the meeting before the election. I'd like to know why the old touchscreen voting machine booths won't work with the new machines. All these things are little tables with sides on them. I'd like to know, the second lowest bidder came in almost $4,000 cheaper, and the only difference is the warranty. I don't think it's worth $4,000 for 5 years more warranty on a folding table with a screen on the side. And for that reason, I think we need to consider not the third lowest bidder, which is what we're voting on, but the second lowest bidder, which is $4,000 cheaper.
Yeah, I looked at that, Joe. I think that the math is a little bit more even. It's $25,623 compared to $18,850. Are we looking at the 21?
Well, the low bidder is 18,000, but the low bidder,
didn't
even though they
respond.
met ADA and federal election standards.
You're correct. I didn't see the checked on the specifications.
The low bidder met ADA and federal standards, but apparently their tables have loose parts, which the county did not, I guess the folks did not like. But the second lowest bidder met all specifications, and the only difference is in the warranty.
Okay.
But I'd also like to know why now, when we're 8 days before the election? And secondly is, why won't the old tables that we use for the old machines work with the new machines?
Well, we're fortunate
Yeah.
to have Mr. Krismer with us
Yeah.
tonight. Rich, would you mind coming up to the podium and we'll ask some questions and get clarification on this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Okay. I guess the first question that Mr. Cronin brought up was, what was wrong, if I can paraphrase, Joe, what was wrong with the existing voting booths?
First of all, you all gave me permission last year to buy all new voting machines, and I did that. And the ADA compliant machines that match the optical scan machines would not fit on the touchscreen machines. The touchscreen machine was set up deliberately. It doesn't have a platform. It has a touchscreen that sits on it. It has no way to put anything on that table. It's not a table, it was all a complete unit. So the touchscreen machines were actually sold back to the vendor to be recycled. So they're gone. They would have never fit the new voting machines anyway. The new voting machines, the excess ones, are about this wide, about this long, and about this high. They need to sit on a platform. Now, why did we wait till 8 days? I didn't. I've been talking about these booths for many, many months. And as you know, we have been, Brent Statler, I'm not allowed to use names, the auditor, the finance director, and the chief counsel and I were discussing other issues that you're going to be discussing tonight also. And we talked about the booths. And I just got the specifications. The third one, the cheapest one, did not fit ADA requirements, nor did they fit the bracing requirements that are created by ADA. There are two reasons why we got the Atkins. And one is the 5-year warranty. If you don't think $5,000 or $4,000 is worth a 5-year warranty, then I can't discuss that with you because you don't think that warranties are worth the money the money you pay for them. However, the major reason we went with Atkins over the second bidder is they are state. If I have a problem with my voting booths, I don't want to have to call Michigan, and hopefully they come down and repair them. Or if I have to mail them, it's going to cost me a lot of money to mail these booths up to Michigan, or else I'm going to be charged for them to come down here and repair them. Here we got an in-state company that's been serving this county's election authority for 25, 26 years. So there were two reasons why I chose Atkins over the lower bidder, the $4,000 5-year warranty, and the fact that when I need service, I don't need it in a few weeks and a few months, and I don't want to pay to have it shipped to Michigan or for them to come down and charge me to maintain the voting machines.
Okay, these are 18 pounds and they're 32 inches. They're UPSable. Secondly is the third lowest bidder that you're recommending, Atkins, has a 10-year warranty. The second lowest bidder's got a 5. So the second lowest bidder still got a 5-year warranty. And these things aren't like complicated electronics.
Atkins is
They're
10-year
table
warranty.
rich with sides on them, right?
Atkins is a 10-year warranty, and they're in-state. We try to buy things local. You like to buy things local. You've mentioned it more than once when you had a tire bid. Why don't we go local?
Local to me, St. Charles County. So,
Well, Missouri's a lot more local than Michigan, and that's the two reasons why I wanted that. Now, if you decide not to vote for these tonight, then my handicapped voters will not have access to the voting booths on Election Day.
Why not?
Because the voting booths that we have currently are for stand-up, okay? The ADA required booths have to be wide enough for wheelchairs to fit under. The
Okay, so
current
you're
booths that
saying
we've
that-
had for many, many years do
You're
not
saying
have.
that the lowest compliant bidder, election source, can't get those to you in time?
Well, it was mentioned that somehow we may have a deal with Atkins. I asked
No,
Atkins.
I asked a question. Can election source have those to you in time for the election that you need these for?
I don't know if they can. I know Atkins can.
Okay, the bid was opened on June 30th,
Yes, sir.
and it's now coming to us.
Yes.
If we have a lead time, why didn't it go to bid sooner? So
Well,
that this can be
I will
open?
take full blame, and I always do responsibility for my election office. I didn't get that particular bid in earlier than that. I could. I've been talking about it for almost 4 or 5 months, so I could have put it in. I didn't. There's been many things going on in the election authority that are not common to the election authority that have taken up a lot of my time, that doesn't allow me to administer elections as they need to be and as they have always been. But I get the job done, and the voters, I'm not going to do a campaign speech,
So the only.
but the voters deserve the best that they
I'm
can have.
leaving the election campaigning out of it. The only choice that we have to get these things guaranteed in is to go with the.
That's
the
correct.
Atkins.
I asked the vendor, I asked the finance director first, can I ask Atkins if they can have it to me before the election? And he said, yes, but they're taking a chance because maybe the council won't buy their machines. They bought them. They have them in place Thursday. They'll have, Wednesday, they'll
Wait,
have
wait,
them
wait,
in
wait.
our place
You've
by
already bought
Thursday.
these?
Pardon me?
You've already bought them?
No, oh, no. How
Have you
can I
ordered
buy
them?
them? Only you can, I can't, I have no access.
Have you ordered these?
I said, if we can pass it, we would like them, and he bought them on the hope and chance that we might, but I can't buy anything. I have no access to the 233 account. I have no checking account. I don't know where the county banks, I don't want to know where the county banks. I have no access to money. If I don't get permission from you all to buy something, I can't buy it. I have no checkbook. I have no access to my account. I can ask them, and Bob, the finance director, knew I was going to ask them, because I asked him, can I ask them? He said, well, it's risky for them. I said, well, they've been servicing this county for 25 years, so I guess they'll take the risk. If you decide not to buy them, I'll be coming back next month asking for November, but in the meantime, in August, we won't have handicapped accessible voting machines, which are required by both federal and state law.
Okay, so you're telling us to comply with federal and state law, we have to approve this tonight. And the reason we have to is that it didn't get ordered soon enough for us to have.
Didn't get bid out soon enough for you to have a longer period of time. But honestly, I
I'm
can't
going to tell you
believe
the
that,
same thing I just told another county
well, I can't
official.
believe that the
I
county
don't,
council
I
wouldn't.
don't like being in a position where I have only one choice. And I have only one
It
choice.
was not one source, it was one choice. Well, you don't have
You're
that
telling me tonight I only have one choice if we want to be in compliance.
in August.
In
Yes, sir,
August.
that's correct.
No, I did not hear that. You don't know for sure if the second low bidder can deliver in time.
That's
correct?
right, I don't know
Correct.
that.
So what if we approve the second low bidder?
They have to be built. They have to be built and assembled and sent to us.
Well,
And they have been.
I would think for $4,000, we should have known ahead of time whether or not the second low bidder could deliver in a
Why would I
timely
want the
manner.
second low bidder when the bidder that I selected gives us more for our money?
Whether or not 5 more years of warranty is worth $4,000 is a decision we should be making at the council level, not at your level, sir. I'm sorry.
The access to the maintenance of the booths is just as important as the 5-year warranty.
That wasn't any of the documents that I read. I read every document turning to this thing, Rich, okay? Every document to it. I mean, we've got a chance to save $4,000. The other thing is, I'd like to know straight up front, have these units been shipped to your office?
They have not. They haven't even been shipped to Atkins yet. Atkins said they were at public test today, which was told by the Republican Democrat Central Committees that we had a public test today. No one showed up. I saw Atkins today because he helps do the public test. And I said, if the county council votes on this tonight, when are you going to get the machines? He said, I'll probably get them Wednesday, but I'll guarantee you I'll have them to you by Thursday so you can start sending them out to the polling places on Friday. So they don't even have them yet. And they paid for them. We haven't paid a dime.
Who's paid for them?
Nobody's, Atkins paid for them. Well, I guess they paid for them. Why would a company ship booths to them if somebody didn't pay for them? Unless everybody's taking everybody's word.
Joanne, on the specification, who did you write the did you write the specification?
Yes, I did.
Did the bid at the, what is it, Joe, the 21 or whatever?
The bid at 21,000 met specifications.
They met the specifications, yeah.
Is it fair to, I mean, I'm in construction, I bid stuff all the time. If there's a bid that's put out there and the people hit the bid and you choose to hire a bidder, doesn't that contaminate the whole bidding process?
It was a fair bid. I used the purchasing policy. I worked with the finance director the entire time.
But if everyone, if you put out, you put the spec out, and the bidders all hit the spec, okay? Did you ask for a 10-year warranty, or did you ask for any of this other stuff?
It was in their brochure.
That's not, my point is if you put a specification out, if I put a specification
No, I
out,
didn't put a specification on how long the warranty would have to be.
and I was low bidder on the job, and I get surpassed by somebody else because they put some bells and whistles in that wasn't asked for out of the specification, what you're doing is contaminating the bidding process.
Then you're saying the finance director is also contaminated because I worked hand in hand with him to get this bid done. If anybody contaminated, it was both of us because he worked with me hand in hand to get this done.
I'm just saying that if you're bidding stuff, you can't just, I mean, in my view, it's not the right thing to do to give it to the next highest bidder if that wasn't asked for in the specification. That's not how you bid stuff. And I've been through this with the county
But I
on
didn't know,
other issues.
but I knew the second lowest bidder was out of Michigan. As far as I'm concerned, that threw him out as far as servicing my equipment.
Do we have a?
Unless he came with a bid of, say,
Was that in the bids
10,000.
that you had to be within a certain distance of the?
No.
Of the,
That wasn't
of
specified,
your
no.
office?
No. And then-
So you're putting in a qualification that wasn't part of the bid
No,
process?
I'm just saying why I selected, I didn't put a qualification in, I told you why I selected them, I didn't qualify it, I said,
All right.
this is why I selected it.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Well, I think in the past, when we've allowed some local companies for like automobiles and so forth, we were talking a couple percent. I mean, this is far more than a couple percent. The difference between there, it's more than 20%.
You all last year accepted a bid for a tire company outside of our county. Mr. Cronin specifically said, from now on, let's do it locally, but since it's already done, we'll buy the higher bid.
Within a couple percent, Rich.
Pardon me?
I know exactly what I said, within a percent or two, not 20%.
I'm not so sure these machines won't be obsolete in 5 years. I
They're
don't
not
know why
machines,
you
sir,
need
they're
it.
just booths, they're just stand-up booths.
Yeah, I know what they are.
We've had booths like these, only they're not wide enough for
And we don't know really what kind of.
25 years, and we're still using them.
I got a question for the finance director, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Mr.
Bob, if you wouldn't mind coming forward. Rich, we have a question for Bob.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, Bob, on our bid specifications, we've had these kind of questions before, and it doesn't matter if it's election office or highways or capital improvements, I'll always bring it up if the spec is not complete and isn't thorough. Now, My point is the specification didn't ask for any of these other bells and whistles, so the county council doesn't typically go, if somebody offers something in addition to this, to what's not in the spec, we don't just arbitrarily choose it if it's 20% more, do we? I mean, customarily, I mean, do we?
Well,
Like if we want a pickup truck, we're gonna do half tons, and somebody throws in a 3/4 ton and it's $5,000 more, we're not gonna go that route because that's not the spec.
the general answer to your question is no, we're not going to go there. But we do have a general provision in any of our bids that go out that say we're going to take the lowest and best bid. The issue about the warranty, I don't know offhand if there was a warranty provision in the bid specs here that we required a minimum term be specified for a warranty. I don't know if a 5-year was specified or not. I did a quick glance through the bid requirements, and no warranty period, I don't believe, was specified. So in that case, and I'll tell you that just the methodology that we used in finance after we received the bid from Mr. Christmer. We received the bid from Mr. Christmer a couple of days after the deadline for the first meeting in July. That's why you're seeing it tonight. But when we opened or got the information from Mr. Christmer, we looked at the price, obviously. The low bid was a non-compliant bid. The non-compliant bid was the fact that it's a very germane and salient point that when they're taking this equipment apart, they don't want to have a bunch of loose pieces, and the low bidder had that. So the low bidder was disqualified as being non-compliant because the bid specs said that they were to have no detachable parts. The second low bid is there with a 5-year warranty. Actually, Atkins' submission stated a 5-year warranty also, but the sales literature that accompanied their bid said a 10-year warranty. So I called Bill Vanderberg at Henry Atkins & Sons and said, hey, I've got a conflict here. Your bid submission says 5 years. Your sales warranty information in your literature says 10 years. What is it? It's 10 years. In discussions with our purchasing manager, we looked at the two bids. For the extra 5 years, and it's stated in my memo that is probably one of the first pages that you're seeing about this. The fact that we buy essentially for $4,000, we buy an extra 5 years of warranty, and that Henry Atkins has an in-state presence that allows us to have ready access for any warranty issues we have over that 10-year period, we thought was justification enough to go with the Henry Atkins bid. That's the thought process we used, and you all are.
I'll say though, in the bidding game, somebody will bid a job, and if they're high, they'll say, oh, by the way, we had this included, but it wasn't written on the contract, but it's in our brochure. I think that's a farce. I do. I think that's a way to try to win a bid that they didn't get fairly.
Well, at the end of the day, when we look at a bid in finance, we're looking at it from the standpoint of what is the lowest and best bid, all factors considered. And in this case, we opted for the longer warranty term, $4,000 more, and the fact that we have a ready presence with Henry Atkins & Sons virtually every election here in St. Charles County because of their support to our election equipment.
This is a table.
The table with sides.
What is going to break?
They have telescoping legs, and they fold up so that everything is one piece in the end. It's like a fold-up type of table, for example. You know, the legs telescope, the legs collapse in, the thing folds up.
Do we have warranties on our other tables, like in cafeteria tables and stuff like that?
No, I don't think so. Well, we do, I guess, to a limited degree. We've had tables break that we bought from Staples.
I was being sarcastic.
But we do.
I'm sorry, no.
But not a 10-year warranty.
No, it's, okay, I got it.
Would you pay 20% more if you were shopping with your family for a table that had a 5-year longer warranty, especially if it was an aluminum folding table?
I think that's what it comes down to.
That comes down to that.
Terry, you have the floor.
Yes, this is for Rich here. Obviously, the other council members are much more knowledgeable about the bidding process, and it's a concern, 20% higher. My concern is, when did we approve the voting machines, the new voting machines?
I think it was it may have been, let's see, we used them last year in a limited process. I think they were probably purchased early in 2013 because we used them for the first time in August. So I think it was sometime early in 2013.
So was it, at that point, the realization was there that these tables were going to have to be replaced?
Well, it's just like when you either are given a park or you purchase a park. You don't anticipate everything that you need for that park. So I saw the optical scans with their booths, with their voting box. And I looked at the optical, or the handicap accessible machines as needing a table. At the time, I didn't move far enough because I knew I didn't need to use those machines until August of this year because they only have to be there for our federal elections. So back then, I wasn't thinking about the requirement to put these on federal ADA compliant tables.
Okay. Yeah, that's my biggest concern is just the timing of all this. I mean, we've had these machines for quite a while. We knew this election was coming up in August, and here we are, 8 days before the election, and all of a sudden it's before us that we need these tables. And I understand the requirements. It's just the timing of when this.
That has to be totally my fault. I've been talking about them for 6 months.
Okay.
And I just didn't put the bid in.
So we're also saying we had 2 elections with these new machines that we weren't compliant with ADA regulations.
No.
Yeah?
ADA requirements are only for federal elections. We have not had a federal
I'm not saying
election.
we were required to. I'm saying we had 2 elections where we didn't have facilities for people with ADA disabilities.
That's correct, right. Those 2 elections were not federal, so we did not need to use the handicap accessible voting
Whether or not
machines.
we needed to by federal regulation or not, we should have done it. Okay?
We don't use them. Oh, you mean we should have purchased them?
We should have been able to accommodate folks with disabilities at those 2 elections when we did have the new machines and we did not have the correct tables for those people to use those machines.
Well, we can try to help people in every way we can in every instance. I'm looking at the federal law saying that's when I have to have them in compliance. Had somebody wanted to vote with one of those ADA compliant voting machines, we would have found a way for them to do it.
Donna, refresh my memory. Is this the second time we've had, did we have a special meeting for another time to get voting booths or something, or voting machines?
I believe we did.
Was it, we had another, didn't we have another time the same thing came up?
No, I've only requested voting machines and iPads in the last 2, probably the last year and a half.
We didn't have a special meeting down in 115 to hurry up and pass something so that it got done before the election?
Yeah, we did. I don't.
That had, I think that may have been the iPad. It had nothing to do with the booths, because we're not
Was for the
required.
iPads and the grant or something?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it had nothing to do with booths.
I'd like to make a motion to pass this to the second lowest bidder at $21,750.
Second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to award the contract to the second lowest bidder. Any further discussion? Mr. Hollander?
Well, yeah, I'd like to, first of all, ask if we do, take the suggestion, will we get them in time and will we be ADA, compliant?
There's no way of knowing that tonight, and from the way Atkins spoke, it took a while for them to get them ordered. They don't have them yet. They're supposed to get them Wednesday. Will this other company be able to in time for the August election? The chances are very nil. Not to say it's impossible, but I don't think it's a very good chance of happening.
Okay, the specification says that they must be delivered by July 30th. So if that bid met specifications, that person bidding with that second lowest bidder is saying that they're going to have them there by July 30th.
Very good point.
Very good. I'm glad you pointed that fact out. That was in the specs.
That's exactly right. I don't know if
And you
they're able to
accepted the
comply,
specs, they-
but what if you all are, go with the second bid, and the 30-day, having it by the 30th is required, and they're not able to do that? Then what do we do?
So you only checked with Atkins, you didn't check with any?
Pardon me, sir?
You only checked with Atkins to find out if they could comply
Well, I
with-
know that
with
they,
one of
yeah,
the bids.
I didn't, and I will do that tomorrow. I will call the other company and see if they comply by tomorrow, and I will let you personally know.
Okay.
Well,
I-
you might have to call them if we approve
I'm
this
getting ready.
motion. Right? You're going to have to.
I would
call
hope you would call them first thing in the morning. Greg, can we pass something tonight that says, to the effect of, give it to the second lowest bid, and if they can't comply with the delivery date of the 30th, that we have authorization to go to the third lowest bid? Is that acceptable?
Well, I guess how are you going to define whether they can comply? I mean,
We're going to call them up and ask them if they can have them or not.
Okay.
If they say,
Miss-
yeah, it's a technical phone call.
Mr. Snar, you got a comment on this?
I do. In looking at the election source and the Henry Atkins bid responses, there was a question in those responses that said, is the product in stock and available for immediate shipment? Both companies answered yes. The Henry Atkins shipping time is 5 days and 6 days for election source.
I still cannot believe that we're sitting here mere days before the election and coming down to a matter of 24 to 48 hours whether or not we're going to have them in time.
Mike, there's a motion on the floor. Let's
Yep.
just vote on it.
Any further discussion? And I will have further discussion. I don't need you calling it.
Sorry.
Any other,
On the motion?
any other discussions? Seeing, Terry, anything else? Call the roll, please.
This is to approve the bid by election source. Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, thanks for the applause. I don't know that it's necessary. Next, we have resolution number 1406, related to the overfunding, refunding of overpayments election cost.
Resolution number 1406, sponsored by Mike Klinghammer, a resolution relating to the refunding to St. Charles County's political subdivisions of
Don, I'm going to
over...
hold you up for 1 second. Do we need to make a motion for the substitute resolution so that that one's read first, or
This
after you read
this
it?
title has to be read
Read that
first.
one, read that one first.
And then
Okay.
the amendment.
I just didn't want you to have to go through it twice.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
A resolution relating to the refunding to St. Charles County's political subdivisions of overpayments of election costs made between January 2008 and August 2013.
Any questions, comments? Go ahead, Dave.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion for a substitute resolution 1406 replacing the one just read, please.
Okay. Motion's been made for the substitute resolution.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? Any discussion, guys?
On this,
On the substitute resolution?
On accepting the substitute resolution.
Accepting the substitute resolution?
No.
Okay.
All those in favor?
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Proceed with substitute resolution 1406.
This is for final passage, or did you
Yes.
want it, okay. Substitute Resolution 1406, sponsored by council as a whole, a resolution relating to the refunding to St. Charles County's political subdivisions of overpayments of election costs made between January 2008 and August 2013. Councilmember Brazel?
yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Are we just approved to do this? We didn't do discussion on it.
Yeah, I thought we were going to discuss it. We approved the substitute.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody want to discuss the resolution before we vote on it?
Yes, I would.
Yeah. Mr. Cronin first.
You know, well, I think a lot of people don't realize this, but the only person in county government, a councilman, can tell what to do is our good, honest, hardworking auditor, Mr. Statler. And a couple of years ago, I became aware of some information that put some questionable billing practices by the election authority, and I met with Mr. Statler several different times. And then a letter came in also from one of the mayors in this county questioning some of those same charges. And Mr. Statler and Mr. Schnurr did a fine job of digging in and finding a lot of money that was overcharged to our school districts, our fire districts, our ambulance districts, the cities that serve our residents, and I commend them for the job they did. Everyone makes mistakes, things happen. This shouldn't have happened, but it did happen. And this resolution is just telling the election authority that we need to straighten this out. We need to pay those people back. Those schools, districts need our money to pay for the education of our kids. The fire districts need the money. The cities need the money. It's time to give it back. So I'd like to thank Mr. Statler and Mr. Schnarr for their hard work with this. This is another step in making this right. No one in county government had anything to do with this but the election authority. And the election authority made a mistake, and it's time to straighten it out.
Any other discussion? Seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Substitute Resolution 1406, a resolution relating to the refunding to St. Charles County's political subdivisions of overpayments of election costs made between January 2008 and August 2013. Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen, for not hearing the truth. Thank you for not hearing the truth. None of this
Thank you,
is
Mr.
all allegations. There is no truth to the report.
Thank you.
I can't
Okay,
believe you
next
gentlemen
we-
wouldn't let me tell the truth. You didn't give me a single chance to comment to you about this issue.
We had public comment.
No.
Time for it is passed.
You didn't ever,
Thank you
none
very
of you
much.
ever asked me to comment
Next, we have
on
bills
this
for
report.
final passage. Bill number 4111 will be the first one.
Bill number 4111, an
Guys,
ordinance
you're stealing
granting
money from the
conditional
county.
use permit 22976 for telecommunications tower, 190 feet in height and a setback distance of 60 feet to David H. Klee and Mary B. Klee.
Is there any questions on bill number 4111?
I got comments.
Yes, Mr. Brazel.
Yeah, on this bill, on the telecommunication tower, I did talk to Mr. Klee, and I did tell him I would not be supporting this bill. A couple of the reasons, the cancer issues and that, I've never even heard those issues before. I mean, I heard them, but that's, to me, not a valid argument. But the fact is these things are pollution to the environment, in my view, especially in a rural area out there. That's a pretty area. I'm sure there's self-service, but maybe not the self-service of the providers that want to put up the cell tower. The only people I see that really benefit from this are the people who are receiving the funding for the property that the tower is going on. And I just think these things are hideous. I have two towers. I live in a rural area too, and I have to look at a tower and I can't stand it every day I see it. And I explained to Mr. Klee, we got into a discussion about property values, and I do know that there's been a property for sale and a tower they put up by my house, and there was a contract on it, and the contract was voided when they found out the tower was going up, and that property still hasn't sold. So they do affect property values, and anybody says they don't, that's just insane. So I will not be supporting this. Nobody in the area wants this cell tower that I'm aware of. And so that's how I'm going to be voting on this issue.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Cronin?
I think it's important to read the planning and zoning report in this and understand we can talk all day long about, property values and real estate values and that, but this thing doesn't meet our setback requirements for cell phone towers. So that's one of the prime reasons staff did recommend we not approve it, because it didn't meet setback requirements. The other thing too, I think it's important to realize that, we all like to say that we we have control over what we do with our property. But this is part of a subdivision, and when you buy land into a subdivision, you kind of understand that you're going to have to live with the community standards within that subdivision. And for the same reason, if you own a piece of land in a subdivision, you don't come in and put a junkyard in that subdivision because no one lets live next to a junkyard. Obviously, by all the people that wrote in and signed this petition, a lot of people don't want to live next to a cell phone tower. So it's in a subdivision, it doesn't meet the setback requirements. I don't support this in any way in a situation like that.
Thank you.
Chairman?
Dave?
I sit on the Planning Zoning Commission, and the Planning Zoning Commission recommended denial unanimously on this. And one of the concerns that I had is, number one, there's another vacant tower within 1.5 miles or a close proximity of this current tower where they want to propose a tower. And there were several people that spoke to the planning and zoning that live in that area, and they have AT&T, and they get fine reception. So I don't understand why they wouldn't consider a site where there's already a vacant tower. Nor is there anybody that was at the Planning and Zoning Commission could answer any questions why they need a tower right at that location. And I don't think there's anybody here from AT&T tonight that could explain why they need a tower at that location. So I'm opposed to it.
Yeah, one of the things that we've learned over the years is that these cell companies, if the reception's not good, they'll find a way. Okay, they'll find a way to improve the reception. They'll, use better technology. They'll find a different place that might be more acceptable. But I don't think the people in this area have to worry about their communications gap any. So I'm not going to support this.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Seeing none, Donna, if you'll call the vote.
Bill number 4111, an ordinance granting conditional use permit 22976 for a telecommunication tower 190 feet in height and a setback distance of 60 feet to David H. Klee and Mary B. Klee. Councilmember Elam?
No.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
No.
Councilmember Hammond?
No.
Councilmember Hollander?
No.
Councilmember Cronin?
No.
Councilmember Brazel?
No.
Thank you. That takes us to bill number 4112.
4112, an ordinance amending the zoning district map of the County of St. Charles, Missouri by rezoning land from AFW Agricultural District 5 acres minimum lot size with floodway overlay district to RRFW Single Family Residential District 3 acres minimum lot size with floodway fringe overlay district as per application 23085.
Is there any questions on this particular item? Seeing none, if you'll call the vote, please.
Bill number 4112, an ordinance amending the zoning district map of the County of St. Charles, Missouri by rezoning land from AFW Agricultural District 5 acres minimum lot size with floodway overlay district to RRFW Single Family Residential District 3 acres minimum lot size with floodway fringe overlay district as per application 23085. Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Okay, and that takes us to bill number 4113.
Bill number 4113, an ordinance granting conditional use permit 23135 for a manufactured home to Jose Guevara and Jenny Alvarado.
Any questions, comments? Seeing none, if you'll call the roll, please.
An ordinance granting conditional use permit 23135 for a manufactured home to Jose Guevara and Jenny Alvarado. Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes. Bill number 4114.
Bill number 4114, an ordinance accepting plans and specifications, ordering the improvements be made, setting forth a proposed assessment roll, and authorizing interim financing for the road improvements for the Meadowbrook Estates Road Neighborhood Improvement District.
Any questions or comments on the NID? Seeing none, if you'll call the roll, please.
An ordinance accepting plans and specifications, ordering the improvements be made, setting forth a proposed assessment roll, and authorizing interim financing for the road improvements for the Meadowbrook Estates Road Neighborhood Improvement District. Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Bill number 4115.
Bill number 4115, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute off-system bridge program agreement, federal project BRO B092011, with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for allocation of funds for replacement of Nam Road Bridge over a tributary of Cert Creek.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, if you'll call the roll.
An ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute off-system bridge program agreement, federal project BRO-B092011, with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for allocation of funds for replacement of Nam Road Bridge over a tributary of Cert Creek. Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Bill number 4116.
Bill number 4116, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute off-system bridge program agreement, federal project BRO-B092013, with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for allocation of funds for removal of the old Highway Z Bridge over a tributary of Peru Creek.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you'll read it and call the roll.
An ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute off-system bridge program agreement, federal project BRO-B092013, with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for allocation of funds for removal of the old Highway Z Bridge over a tributary of Peru Creek. Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Bill number 4117.
Bill number 4117, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute off-system bridge program agreement, federal project BRO-B092014, with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for allocation of funds for replacement of Schnarr Road Bridge over a tributary of Sam's Creek.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, if you'll read it and call the roll.
An ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute off-system bridge program agreement, federal project BRO-B092014, with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for allocation of funds for replacement of Schnarr Road Bridge over a tributary of Sam's Creek. Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Bill number 4118.
Bill number 4118, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute off-system bridge program agreement, federal project BRO-B092015, with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for allocation of funds for replacement of South Shore Road Bridge over a tributary of the Mississippi River.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, if you'll read it and call the roll.
An ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute off-system bridge program agreement, federal project BRO-B092015, with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for allocation of funds for replacement of South Shore Road Bridge over a tributary of the Mississippi River. Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Bill number 4119.
Bill number 4119, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a sanitary sewer easement between St. Charles County, Missouri, and David and Shirley Hibbets and Carol J. Spilker, trustee of the Spilker Family Revocable Living Trust, under agreement dated March 7, 2005.
Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
An ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a sanitary sewer easement between St. Charles County, Missouri, and David and Shirley Hibbets and Carol J. Spilker, trustee of the Spilker Family Revocable Living Trust, under agreement dated March 7, 2005. Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes. Next, we have bills for introduction. We have two tonight. Bill number 4120.
Bill number 4120, requested by Craig Takowski, sponsored by Mike Klinghammer, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute new form land leases for the St. Charles County Airport. And I will have to read this. Whereas the St. Charles County Charter, Article 2, Section 2.517, 2012, authorizes the county council to lease county properties. And whereas St. Charles County has available land to lease for development at the St. Charles County Airport for airport and aviation-related purposes. And whereas St. Charles County adopted Ordinance 97-100, which authorized the county executive to execute lease agreements for property at St. Charles County Airport. And whereas it is in the county's interest to amend the lease agreement as provided herein. Now therefore be it ordained by the County Council of St. Charles County, Missouri as follows. Section 1, The county executive is hereby authorized to execute land lease agreements for property at St. Charles County Airport in substantially the same form as set out in Exhibit A. Section 2, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after the date of its passage and approval.
Any questions or comments?
I think this is a good thing in the fact that there's kind of a trend in the small aviation industry where guys are building their own hangars, and they're putting a lot of money in those hangars, both in planes and in development. This gives the county executive the option to try to attract some of that development, plus businesses that might cater to the customers out there. So right now, there's a few large commercial hangars that people businesses can rent, but most of them are small hangars. Now you've got the ability to bring somebody in to build a new hangar and lease them the land and create some jobs and move those expensive planes with the big property tax bills to St. Charles County. Okay?
Very good. Mr. Elman.
The airport director, Dennis Wiss, is here if any of you have any questions about this, either now or later.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Wist? Seeing none, thanks for coming. I appreciate you being here. Next one.
Bill number 4121, requested by Steve Elman, sponsored by Mike Klinghammer, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a professional service agreement between the County of St. Charles, Missouri, and the United States Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Missouri in conjunction with the Missouri Highway Patrol as fiscal agent and Edward L. Dowd III as an independent contractor.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, we don't have any tabled bills. Any announcements or miscellaneous items tonight?
I think Joanne sent an email. Do we have to take any action on removing the bid that you put out? Oh, you threw, okay. Okay, okay.
Seeing none, yes.
Greg has just told me that we closed on the park property today, or?
Yes, sir.
Oh, great.
Yes, today.
Good.
So.
It's officially ours then, right?
You know, everybody I've talked to is real excited about it, and I think it's going to be a great addition to our park system.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Where's that park again?
What district is that in again?
Is it your district?
Is there a motion
That's
for?
in Nancy Matheny's district.
You know, I think it's because of that hard work of the last 6 years of Nancy Matheny of browbeating that family. No, I'm just kidding.
Motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Gentlemen.